just mentioned it. What fires you up the most about conference play?
Just conference play. You're on a schedule now. Saturday, either Tuesday or Wednesday. Every now and then, you get a big Monday. You got, great venues. Your guys are gonna be up for every game, right? You're not worried about them overlooking anybody, that kind of thing. Their juices are flowing a little bit more. That's why they came to K-State to play in this conference, and so a lot of fun.
Big picture. I know you look at this stuff sometimes, but just looking out at the rest of the season, what do you think it'll take for you guys to get back to the NCAA tournament? Do you have any kind of number in mind? 9 wins?
9 wins. I agree with you, though. You wrote something the other day, and you said, I think fans, got to look at this team, and we're not guaranteed. The expectations, I think you talked about, we got to be tempered a little bit because of the group that we have, But that's why we got crazy faith, and we're gonna take it one at a time. And but yeah, we got a lot. It's gonna be one heck of a job for us to get 9 wins in this conference, and anybody that does that in this league deserves to play in the NCAA tournament.
You look back to last year, heading into conference play to where you are now, especially with the newcomers in the league. I guess, does the league look, better, worse, the same? What are your thoughts on the Big 12? The gauntlet that you're going to have to face.
I don't know if it, every year it looks like it gets harder and harder. Somebody, a friend of mine hit me and was like, dude, you got a rough couple weeks or whatever it was. And I was like, well, what names would you have put there? And it wouldn't have been a rough couple weeks, right? So, it just gets, that's why it's like a 1-game season, right? You just, one game at a time, don't get too high, don't get too low. Let's just keep moving on and, try to figure out how to win your games at home and, hopefully sneak one on the road kind of thing.
Any news on Quez?
Surgery went well. Then we'll figure things out from there. See what he's thinking too,
Maybe, I guess you're probably not thinking about next year, but that could be an option, right, for him to maybe come back?
Yeah, it all depends on, those injuries are a little difficult, and this is his 3rd or 4th, and he has to recover through it and stuff. So we'll do everything we can to help him.
And then I wanted to ask you about maturity with some players. What might that entail for guys to just get more mature?
Maturity comes through experience and learning from those experiences, and then being able to look in the mirror and say, okay, well, there's something that I have to change. Like immature people look at a situation and say, well, there's something they did wrong or something they got to change. There's nothing wrong with me. And mature people first look at themselves and say, okay, how could I have made this situation better or done something to help this situation, and then build from there. And so that's just it comes through experience and stuff. And people always want to know about, hey, how can this guy play more, that guy play more? If we had 300 minutes, I could figure that out. But we have a limited number of minutes and to play, so it takes somebody is not going to play, and that person who's not playing can probably help us. But the question is, do they help us more, or is it what we needed that night? And it changes from game to game. It'd be great as a coach if you knew exactly what you was going to get from each guy every night. And that's where mature teams, mature players, what to expect from them every night.
You're throwing us off with the mic.
Yeah, we're changing things up. Tom had a great note here that K-State is the only member to have 3 rank in the league's top 20 in scoring with Cam, Arthur, and Tyler. What kind of blessing have those guys been?
They've been a blessing. Somebody hit me with I don't know what you call it, a DM or whatever, but they said Cam, Art, and Tyler, it spells cat their first initial. And so she called them, three cats. And so it was really cool. And so those are three cats. And I've been pleased, right, with what they're doing. And the fact that if we can get all three of them to click on a given night, we're gonna be hard to beat. And so it's a joy to coach them. Oh, fumble! Dive.
Sorry about that. UCF, what can you tell me about them? We haven't really looked that far into the league yet.
Oh no, they remind me defensively of Providence, right? Like I remember looking at Providence and telling the team, fellas, normally I can look at a team's defense and figure out some ways that you could pick on them, and with Providence, it was hard to find ways that you could attack them. From the offensive end, where they had a weakness defensively, and it's the same thing with UCF. In the half court, they're as good of a defensive team as there is in the country, and they've got size and athleticism, rim protection. So we're gonna have to manufacture some buckets against them because they're really good on that. And then they've got versatile guys on the offensive end, and you have to keep them off the glass. And a couple of guys that are shooting over 50% from three in the last 5 games. And so we're going to have to, find those guys. And then they turn teams over at a high rate. And if you followed us, we've kind of struggled with that third turnover thing. So we have to take care of the ball so it doesn't allow them to get out in transition, use their athleticism.
Also, it seems like offensively, you've been at your best when you've been able to get out and transition. What is the key to that? Defensive rebounding or just defensive stops?
Turnovers, deflections, things that can gain us an advantage, two-hand rebounds with really good outlet passes that can get us going, especially if our, 3s and 4s rebound the ball, or the guards that they can start to break. We don't have to initiate with a pass. But in this league, I think what you're going to find is that it's going to be really hard to score against anybody in our league in the half court if you just took half court defense. And so it's the team that can create the most turnovers and, just get the most advantage offensive plays. Those are going to be the teams that win.
Coach, I see you've got the Crazy Faith T-shirt on, and obviously that was a big deal in the tournament run last year, but how's that mindset going to help you guys getting in the Big 12 play here?
Great question. Crazy Faith wasn't just for the tournament last year. It was all year long. The very first meeting, with the team of guys, only 2 of which stayed. I told them that's next March we're going to be in the NCAA tournament. And I think if you look at us on how we've played, and on paper, and, you would say, man, I don't know if we are an NCAA tournament team, but I believe that we have crazy faith in each other, them and us as a staff, and us and them as players. And, some guys aren't shooting quite as well as I know they can shoot, and we haven't played quite as well, and we've lost some guys along the way, and people would think when you lose guys, whether it's season-ending injuries or transfers, whatever it is, that team takes a step back, and but we just have this great belief in who we are and what God called us to be, and that if we love each other more than anybody else loves each other, and we just really support each other and stay focused, that we can accomplish things that people don't think we can accomplish.
How did Quez handle the second injury? I mean, I'm sure it's an unfortunate situation. How did he react?
He was really distraught, and did all he could to, be out there for the guys in the Chicago State game. I just asked him. I told him, I said, "Hey man, go ahead and do what you got to do. between now on game time and on game day, I need you just to like suck it up for the team and just be a support and be a coach and, you know, be positive and stuff, you know, and then afterwards went back and talked with Doc and, you know, got more information and he was really distraught, but man, he's a tough kid. He is, and he really, really cares. You know, I think he was most disappointed because he felt like he was letting the staff down and letting the team down more than anything else. And so we're going to let him know how much we love him. We're there to support him, and we'll help him through this.
You also mentioned after the last game, when it comes to shooting, maybe one quick fix would be just taking the open shots when you're there. What is something you emphasize with your players when it comes to that particular part of the game? Not passing up open shots when they're
Yeah, well, you know, I'm just watching film, like when I get in our feet set, right, which means that we're indecisive. And guys who want to shoot the ball, they set their feet, they get their hands ready, you know, and I feel like there's some indecision there. And part of that comes with, you know, confidence. And so we've talked about that. And what do we trust? Do we trust the results, or do we trust the work that we've put in all summer long? And we're going to trust the work that we've put in. And if you really believe in that, then you're going to get your feet set, you can get your hands ready. You're going to be ready to shoot the ball when you're open and not be second-guessing it. And so people go through it. Right? You go through it, and you have to learn to rely on not the results of what's showing up, but the fact that you have put in all that work. And guys like TP, Cam, Day, you know, guys who have shot thousands of shots this summer, man. They were in here like you would not believe. And then the results we have from those standard tests that we do that have blown away some of the other results we've had when I've been with different teams that were good shooting teams. I know we're going to shoot the ball better.
Just in terms of the first half of the non-conference slate to now, Day-Day's production has just kind of slipped back a little bit. Is that maybe just defenses honing in on him a little bit more, you know, being on the scouting report?
Yeah, on the scouting report. It's amazing, right? You get on the scouting report and people figure out, you know, some things, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, you know, and it's kind of like, remember the last few years we've had that SEC Big 12 challenge in the middle of conference play? And boy, we got butterfingers around here. But so like that game usually is always a high scoring game because teams aren't as locked in on, you know, I mean, they're locked in on conference, and so it always like frees things up for you in that game. Well, that's Day-Day's first few games. Nobody, oh, he's a freshman, you know, and then all of a sudden he's a freshman that scored double figures. So guess what you do? Moves up the scouting report. Now people are locked in on you, and then you have to learn how to do what you do best better than they can defend it, and then add a little something to your game. And then now if you don't have success, then now you start doubting yourself, and everybody goes through that. But we're going to help him come along and grow through it.
As a coach, you embrace that challenge and welcome it, just finding ways to get him more involved?
Well, we have to all embrace it. Right? Like he first has to embrace that, you know, I mean, Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there's no progress, right? And we don't prepare, you know, life and the world and the game for our players. We prepare our players for life, the world, the game, you know, and that's our job. We're going to prepare him to handle those struggles so that when he goes through it, he does it the right way and comes out on the other end better. And so.
And then obviously now you're without Quez and then no Naquan. With open spots, well, I guess with Tom when that spot's open, but any you know, have you and your staff, especially over Christmas, did you guys look over and see if there's any players you guys could add, or is it probably just too late at this point?
No, we're flipping rocks, man. We're flipping rocks to see if there's one out there, and you know, we haven't found one yet, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to stop. I think semester starts like January 10th or somewhere around there, and then you have 12 days to get a guy in from that day on. And so, yeah, until it's done, I mean, we're going to continue to work at this thing.
I want to give this to somebody so I can fumble it.
Now, if that happened with our staff, like somebody would say, nervous Purvis, right? Like Big 12 play, everybody's a little nervous Purvis. So let's not be nervous now.